It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's the solar eclipse day. Did you take a look? Did you get to see it? I hope you didn't look right into the sun unless you had the proper glasses. I don't want you burning out your retina. Hey, it's the Geno Jones Show. I hope you had a great weekend. Yes, I do. So, now, my normal days, start times, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. The Geno Jones Show is brought to you by CM, like Mary, CM Transportation. If your existing business, if you have a transportation company that you can't depend on, you can't rely on, and they're like never on time, like on CP time all the time, or if you have a new business and you're looking for a transportation company, trucking company that has dependable, reliable, on-time service, CM Transportation, that is the company you need. You can reach out to them. Check them out, www.cm, like Mary, www.cmtransportation.net, cmtransportation.net, or 843-606-2702, 843 area code 606-2702. Shout out to Miss Carissa Carter. She is the CEO of CM Transportation. Call them, tell them I told you to call. Ask for Carissa Carter and tell her, hey, I'm watching the Geno Jones Show and I need a dependable, reliable, on-time transportation company for my business. She got you covered. So I started off the show talking about today's solar eclipse day, a total eclipse of the sun. Now, I think only like out of 330 million, only 34 million actually got to see the total eclipse. So it took a little path like across South Texas, Dallas, like Carbondale, Illinois, southern Indiana. Then it kind of went up, it's kind of on an angle. If you lived in, like around Niagara Falls, upstate New York, and in Vermont, you got to see the total eclipse of the sun where it just like got cooled all of a sudden and went dark because the sun disappeared for like about 5 or 6 minutes. Other parts of us, or the rest of us, got to see like the partial. Here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro, it was like 70, we saw like 75%. So we had an actual crystal clear day. I was gonna say absolutely, then I said there was absolutely or actually. So we had an absolute crystal clear blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. So around 3:06 local time here, it was the sky was completely blue, but it was a little darker, which is kind of like hazy. Like if you live in LA or a city on a sunny day, but there's a lot of pollution and the sun, it's not getting all the way through. It kind of had that kind of vibe to it here. So, but watching the news, and they had camera crews, and you see a total eclipse of the sun, and folks are, listen, it is if you love science and nature, it is an exciting event. So you'll get no shade from me, but it's over now. So the next total solar eclipse, I believe, is going to be, let's see here, 2045. So eat your vegetables, drink plenty of water, eat healthy, take the fats and starches and carbohydrates out of your diet and all the unhealthy stuff. Don't drink too much or eat too much so you can be around for 2045 and see the next total solar eclipse. All right, now, speaking of eclipse, on the court, these women, they eclipsed everything. Congratulations to the University of South Carolina Lady Gamecocks head coach Dawn Staley and the entire team. They are the champions of women's college basketball. Last night they defeated, first of all, they had an undefeated season, the entire season, 38-0, won the national championship, went through the March Madness women's division of the college basketball tournament, beat Iowa, the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark, who's had a great career, phenomenal career, but the media, they always overdo stuff. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But they beat Iowa. Now, Iowa actually beat South Carolina last year. So this was like a revenge tour, and one of the players, shout out to Raven Johnson. So this is a video that's been on social media. So last year, I think Raven was a freshman, and she wasn't the greatest shooter. So Caitlin Clark, who was guarding her, because, you know, Caitlin is a great offensive player, scorer, but she ain't much on defense. So they was like, let's put our best player offensively on their weakest shooter, their weakest player offensively, so Caitlin doesn't have to guard her. And so there was video of Caitlin like, just go ahead, shoot. She was like backing up, taunting her. Now, had Raven Johnson did that to Caitlin Clark, then the media and folks would have went crazy. I'm gonna address all that in a minute. So this year, Raven Johnson got revenge. Right before halftime, Caitlin Clark is trying to dribble the ball up the court, and just like if you're playing basketball, if you got like a young son, you know, 7, 8, a toddler, and he's trying to learn how to play basketball, he's dribbling, you just, give me the ball. Raven Johnson ripped her, give me the ball, right before halftime. And then went down on the other end of the court, laid it up with her left hand. Second half, Caitlin, once again, she's trying to make a move. Raven Johnson, give me that ball. Give me that ball, heifer. So anyway, it was a great, great game. And Coach Staley, oh man, her press conference, well really, right after the game, you had a reporter go up to her, and she was really, first of all, she was overwhelmed. And Coach Staley, like she said, she's from Philly. So, you know, she's pretty cool. She keeps her emotions in check, but she just said it overwhelmed her. And I want to paraphrase. She talked about unconditional, I think, I'm paraphrasing, I think she said it was unconditional favor. Something to the effect like this incredible favor that God showed her. And she said, listen, I know, you know, God doesn't necessarily choose sides in a sporting event, but she's a spiritual woman. And I absolutely love Coach Staley, everything about her as a coach and a person. Her players love her, all of her players. Camila Cardoso, from Brazil, who is going to be one of the top players drafted in the WNBA. You had 2 freshmen that were balling. I think is it Tracy Johnson and Malaysia Fulwiley, or Tracy Johnson. Anyway, 2 young sisters that were freshmen came in, just changed the whole energy, because Iowa got way up in the beginning, and Coach Staley is like, yo, my freshies, I'm gonna need y'all to go in there and change the energy. Man, them freshmen came in there. Man, little Malaysia Fulwiley came in there looking like Magic Johnson, just going up the court. Couldn't nobody stop her going to the whole dishing. And little, is it Tracy Johnson, young freshman? She shooting like Steph Curry. Bam, 3-pointer. Splash, splash, splash. Another 3-pointer. So congratulations. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Iowa star, she was a superstar in college basketball, Caitlin Clark. Now, you can't really talk about the popularity of Caitlin Clark without putting this in context, which is no shade. She broke all kind of scoring records at the University of Iowa. She broke all kind of scoring records in college basketball. But when Caitlin Clark really got on the map for the non-basketball fan was during last year's Final Four, when right after Iowa beat South Carolina, and they played LSU, Louisiana State University, and their star Angel Reese, who was also going to the WNBA. She was the center, a black woman, sister for LSU. So they kind of went back and forth, and LSU beat Iowa. And so because I think Caitlin Clark had a reputation, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, Caitlin Clark is white, which has nothing to do with her ability as a great offensive player. But Caitlin Clark had a reputation. She would do this, like, you can't see me. She would get so hot in terms of shooting the basketball. You see her, taunting her opponent, like doing this. Media didn't make no big deal about it. Always cute, always, she's competitive. She's got that competitive fire. Now, when it's a black athlete, then all of a sudden it's a problem, unsportsmanlike, thuggish, just poor behavior, not ladylike. Unfortunately, the biggest sport in America is race. And the media, the corporate media, has always fed into it. All the way back to Joe Louis and Max Smelling. Google that when it comes to boxing. Heavyweight boxing champion. They had 2 fights. Max Smelling won the first fight. Joe Louis beat Max Smelling in the second fight. Hit him so hard in his kidneys, in his back and his kidneys. He made Max Smelling pee on himself, was peeing blood, and had to go to the hospital. It turned out Joe Louis and Max Smelling became best of friends because Max Smelling, he wasn't a racist dude at all, but he was fighting as a German, and of course, Hitler kind of co-opted this dude and said he represents the Aryan nation and white supremacy. And then when Max Smelling won, oh, Hitler was like, see, I told you, see, the white man is superior to the Negro. He probably said something worse, the N-word. But oh my God, that rematch, it didn't last. I don't think it lasted 3 rounds, maybe 1 or 2 rounds. Joe Louis almost killed Max Smelling. I digress. So Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in 1979, when they played in the NCAA championship game. The Lakers and the Celtics back in the 80s, the Lakers and Magic Johnson, and the Celtics and Larry Bird. At the time, the Celtics had not an all-white team, but like their 2 biggest stars, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale were white. They had some other white players kind of past his prime, Bill Walton. So the media, I know this because I work in the media and been working in the media for over 3 decades. So let's fast forward it to 2023. Angel Reese, when she beat Caitlin Clark, she gave Caitlin a little bit of her own medicine. You can't see me now. It was like, I got a ring on my finger. So of course, many in the media and others, the MAGA cult tried to make Angel Reese out to be, oh, she's a thug and she's unladylike and she's a poor sport, no sportsmanship. Now, when Caitlin Clark was doing that, wasn't a problem. So the media in general and America collectively has always looked for what has been called the great white hope in sports, even in politics. How you think you got orange jumpsuit Hitler? And the media has always been complicit in this. It just is. Because they know race, sex, and violence sells. It's like the train wreck. People are just curious to see it. And unfortunately, that is at the foundation of America. Race, come on, look, America was built on the foundation of racism. That's a whole different show. Look, I got a lot of monologues on that. Go back and check it out. So the media has really embraced Caitlin Clark not in a unique way, but I understand the media has taken advantage of a young lady that's had a phenomenal career. Even though she didn't win a championship, she was a prolific scorer. But we've had a lot of prolific scorers. And to be honest, you've had many white women basketball players that you got white women. As a matter of fact, there's a young white woman that played in college basketball that's a better all-around player than Caitlin Clark. Now, I know I'm not supposed to say that. Just talk to some fans up at UConn, okay? University of Connecticut, Paige Beckers. Google Paige Beckers. She's coming back next year. Now her coach, Geno, now yes, that's her head coach, but he said, listen, you can look at all the numbers for you analytics geeks, and Paige Beckers has better numbers. Her analytics are better than Caitlin Clark's or anybody else. So I digress. But it's funny how the media will kind of latch on. Young lady who became incredibly popular, of course, state of Iowa. She's from Des Moines, Iowa, stayed at home, became a big star. And then last year, with the racial dynamic of the all-black LSU team, University of Louisiana State University, and the virtually all-white University of Iowa team. The media and all those that feed on this, and really this year went to another level. So the media really poured engine on this fuel. But like I said, the funny thing is they ignore it even in college basketball. Like this young lady, Paige Beckers, like y'all probably haven't even heard of her. My point exactly. And so then there was talk about, Caitlin Clark being the greatest player, the GOAT, the greatest player of all time. Hold on. She hasn't got to the WNBA yet. And it's funny, you've had some WNBA players who were legends, who played at the University of Connecticut ladies team, legendary team. They've won 11 championships. Diana Taurasi, who is definitely one of the GOATs. Last night, some people tried to give her some shade. She's like, now listen, Caitlin, the levels to this now. Now, what you did was great, but you were doing that against 18-year-olds. Now, these are some grown-ass women in the WNBA. So don't think you're just going to come in and dominate, because I'm paraphrasing. You're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to learn. You're going to learn real quick. So it's just, I will acknowledge that this young lady, she's helped to elevate, she's elevated the women's game, because you have people who normally wouldn't watch women's basketball. And that really started with the rivalry between her and Angel Reese. But at the same time, we got to put this thing in context. So we need to, while we are elevating the current women's basketball game, college and pro, we need to remember the true GOATs, like Cheryl Miller. Between her and Candace Parker were the greatest women basketball players I've ever seen. Nancy Lieberman, I could go on and on and on. Let's see, Cheryl Swoops, Teresa Edwards, Lynette Woodard, and other white players. Breonna Stewart won 4 championships in a row at UConn. Diana Taurasi, her team won 3 in a row. And speaking of ladies on UConn, who might be the GOAT, right there with Cheryl Miller and maybe Candace Parker, one young lady named Maya Moore, who retired at the peak of her powers, who, if I remember correct, won either 3 or 4 championships in high school, won 4 straight championships at UConn. It's got, I think, 2 gold medals, USA women's basketball, and one or 2 WNBA championships with the Minnesota Lynx. So while we acknowledge, and there's a lot of excitement and talk about Caitlin Clark, who is a great player and one of the greats, we'll give her that. But so why since you're into women's college basketball, or just women's basketball, college and pro, put some respect on Cheryl Miller and Candace Parker and Cheryl Swoops and Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Lynette Woodard, Breonna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. Put some respect on their name too. All right. Happy birthday, Brenda Russell, 75 today. R&B star from the 70s. Songs like Footsteps in the Dark and So Good, So Right. Rapper Dej Loaf, 33 today. Repping the Detroit City, the D. Former CEO of BET, Bob Robert Johnson, is 78 today. Happy heavenly birthday to Biz Markie, born on this day, 1964. And he died tragically, complications of COVID-19 in 2021. And congratulations to the Queen Bee, Beyonce. She's done it again. So her album, Country Carter, is #1 on the Billboard Top 200 chart and #1 at the same time on the country music chart. The first black woman to ever have a #1 country album on the Billboard Top 100, Top 200 charts. Congratulations to the Queen Bee, Miss Beyonce. All right, time for me to bring up my guest. Speaking of Queen Bee, as she gets ready to sit back down in her seat, she is an author of 6 books, including her latest is #6. It's called Embrace Your Crown. It's a time management handbook for black women specifically, but for women in general. So I'm going to let her explain it all to you. There you see, ladies and gentlemen, there you see the queen with her crown on, Miss Trinace Carter. All right, full disclosure, I've known Trinace, I call her T, uh, when she first started off as an author around the same time when I released my book. So I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. You are doing your thing as an author. So welcome to the show, and congratulations on Embrace Your Crown, a time management handbook for Black women. So why don't you explain that title, and then, if you don't mind, like a two-part question, because I'm sure somebody's watching. Why is it a time management handbook for Black women? And what about white women or Asian women or Hispanic women? But I know you can explain that to folks that don't get it. So you got the floor. Oh, unmute your mic.
So
there you
thank
go.
Thank you for having me, first of all. This is my sixth book, and it was important for me at this time to take into consideration, although I write for women, all of my books are for women, besides the one I wrote for girls with my daughter. It's time to embrace who we are, and we are royalty, and we control our time, and we only get 24 hours, and we have to figure out how to best manage our time, because who we are connected to, they get the overflow of our afterglow when we learn how to prioritize ourselves. So why
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
so why I wrote it for Black women is because I'm a Black woman. I've never been anything but that besides a Black girl, and I just believe that how our 24 hours is used is different than other ethnicities. Now, it's not to say that they don't do a lot, but when you look at in the workforce, we do the most work to prove that we belong there. We are staying we are staying the longer hours. We are the most educated. We are doing the most, literally. And there's not a woman that I know that doesn't say I need more than 24 hours. But that's all any of us get. So I had to dedicate this time for us to learn how to pull back and live this soft life that everybody is talking about, and access our greatness by prioritizing ourselves and our time.
So if you don't mind, the first part of the title is Embrace Your Crown. So elaborate on that. What do you mean when you say embrace your crown?
Embracing your crown means understanding who you are divinely created to be. And I believe I'm the queen. When I announce myself at work, when I hit that door, the queen is here. And you set the standard. You set the standard based on what you understand yourself to be, and what your role is in a room when you enter it.
So Trinace, let's talk about time management. This is like a two-part question.
Okay.
What would you say, or what does the book say is the biggest mistake that women make when it comes to time management? And what is the one thing, if maybe the most important thing, or one thing, but I say the most important thing, or the one main thing that you recommend women do to help better in terms of time management?
Well, our the champion of our time bandit is other people's problems, other people's priorities, other people's projects. That's the main deterrent of us prioritizing ourselves. I think that as a culture, we were taught to work hard, play hard. I don't subscribe to work hard, play hard. We were taught that if we don't do things for other people, that we are selfish. And a lot of times, if we grow up that way, we learn to value ourselves based on what we do for other people versus what we do for other people that we want to do, because that's definitely a big difference. What you do for people based on obligation or manipulation versus what my heart feels happy about doing for someone.
So in this journey of writing your book, did you learn something about yourself that surprised you, or something that really affirmed what you really believe, but writing the book really crystallize it for you, or maybe talking to? Because I'm sure you talked to other women in terms of embracing your crown. Talk about that whole process.
So I did not talk to anybody this time. This was a journey that I did on my own because some journeys people won't are afraid to take because of judgment. Um, I think I really, really started this authenticity road and self help road because that's my genre. When I started that, that was like 13 years ago, 14 years ago, my first book, and people didn't understand what I was doing. People didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is I wanted to write something, and this is what I wrote. So, this right here is definitely, if you've read any of my books, this is the Trinace that you didn't know I was because I didn't know I was her.
I was going to ask you how much. That's why I said. So how much did you learn about yourself that you didn't know, or
I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I can talk the good talk, but I was not always walking the good walk. Is that the song "Walk It Like You Talk It"? I wasn't doing that. I learned that I can't be all things to all people, and I can't be my best for anyone if I can't learn to prioritize myself. That means saying no to things that I just don't want to do and not providing an explanation. That's important because if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And you don't have to offer any other response than no, because when you tell people no and why, then that gives them the opportunity to wiggle in and tell you, yes, you can do this and this is why.
so you
So
said just the no is good enough. You don't have to go the no and well, why not? Uh, because I said no.
yeah, that's usually my answer when someone asks why. No, no, because that's what I said, or that's how I feel, and I don't usually feel any type of way about it because when you have realized your own power in no and your own power in yes, you have the control of it. As a queen, you have the authority.
And was
You,
that one of the main things that you took personally after
I
going on this
did.
journey and writing this book? Is like, well, you know what? I'm stronger than I thought, or that I knew, or that. Well, yeah, and you talked about it, like saying no. It's okay. I
Hmm.
think you really answered that, but I'm just kind of following up. Was that one of the biggest revelations for you?
It was because I wrestled back and forth with it, not just I wrestled back and forth with it as I elevated in the entire journey as an author, as a mother of adult children now, as a grandparent, as a person who is elevating to enter into entrepreneurship full time. So it was definitely an eye opener as you elevate things that you believe they change, or they have a different meaning, and they definitely had a different meaning because I figured out that I found my value in saying yes to things that I didn't want to do. That's how I found my value, and that's not true about any of us. Our value is in who we are, and it's internal, not what we do.
I'm glad you went there because I was going to kind of follow up with that kind of theme in terms of a question. How much of it being so hard to say no? Like a lot of times in the corporate world is hard for women to not just know their worth, but to ask for a raise or just things like that. How much of that is 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 placed on you because of society and the patriarchy and the misogyny and sexism? How much of that is culture in terms of how we were raised by parents, moms, and grandmothers? What part does
So
those elements play in all that, you think?
I'm going to say it plays two parts. It plays in our life based on in the beginning. We are given self love seeds, which I talk about all the time. And our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, they are responsible for our garden. And what they plant in our garden with our love seeds, sometimes they are weeds,
Mm.
sometimes they are thistles. And then we become responsible for these self love seeds. And if we don't know any better because we've trusted them, they've given us what they know. So now it's our responsibility to take care of what they were responsible for. So now we're responsible, and now we're going out in the world. And you have to remember, we were probably told, don't do that because that's selfish. You know, you have to give that, you have to share this, you
That's
have
not
to do this,
ladylike, stuff
you
like
have to
that.
work harder. Right. So all of this definitely plays into part A, and then part B. Now you're out in the work world. And as a Black woman, if you are strong, then you aggressive, because my personality, the office manager, he was like, you know, you have a strong personality. And I appreciate him saying strong personality versus other words, because my personality is strong, because I know how to get things done. And if you're not willing to get things done, just move out my way.
That's, trust me, that is Trinace. That's the T I know. Trust me, she's gonna get the job done. Is a what's the saying? Um, like get on board or get out the way. I'm paraphrasing it. You know, don't
Hmm.
just stand there and do nothing. Either we get with the program, get on board, let's get the job done, or get out the way and let me do it, and somebody else is gonna do it. So
Yeah,
are we gonna see? No,
I
finish your
usually say,
thought. Yes.
I usually say fall in or fall off. You go fall in or fall off. Just, I mean, we either gonna do this together, and if we not, you can step away. And I used to would feel a way about that. Now it comes a time when you begin to embrace who you were divinely created to be, and I cannot say divinely created to be enough, because when we came here, we were a blank slate. You and I were a blank slate. We were an innocent baby. And when you think about, I don't know what it was that I was reading or watching, um, an iPod. Before the iPad and the iPhone, there was the iPod.
Mhm.
And when you purchased the iPod, there was nothing on it. And you had to download your music,
Right.
and you had to, it was programming. So imagine us as babies being programmed, and we were programmed. We were literally programmed. And this programming, it's our responsibility to follow it, which we do, or change it up. And it's harder for us to change it because many of our life experiences, the people, places, and things that we are connected to tell us we're wrong for doing that.
So two things before I had to let you run. Um, is there a screenplay in the works? And if so, because I know you, and if there's a screenplay, unless somebody can write you a whole big, like a big ass check, a whole lot of money, you will write your own screenplay. And two, let us know about if there's a tour, if you are currently on a book tour, about to go on a book tour, and more important, let everybody know where they can go and order the book right now, including
So
autographed copies if you're doing that.
I am writing some stuff, working on some projects for TV and maybe for movie. Right now, I have this book. It's on Walmart. You can go to Walmart website. You can go to the Amazon website. If you're in Houston, I have this big women's event, because you know, women, my thing. That's my thing. Self care, self love, femininity, and relationships. That's coming in June. You can buy the book there, but you can also be a part of this exclusive, luxurious feminine event. Um, well, you get to be Tracy, not Trinace, the author. You'll meet me, your girl Tracy, and we'll be talking about those things in a safe space that sometimes your friends, people that you love, judge you about. Those people who are planting in your garden, they'll they judge you when you have different thought process, and I know because I've been there. There are certain things that I believe now that I did not believe before, and you know. It's okay to elevate your thought process. It really is. It's okay.
So let everybody know where we can get your book right now.
Amazon.com, Walmart.com. It's probably going to be in some other places, but within the next couple of weeks. Or you can message me and I can send you an autographed copy.
Social media, all your social media information too. That's what I meant to think.
Instagram, I am one authentic woman. TikTok, I am one authentic woman. Facebook, I am one authentic woman. I am one authentic woman everywhere, even in life.
Cool. Is it the number one or the word spelled out one?
The number one.
So
the number one.
Okay, good deal. All right, and listen, I'm going to have you back because there's always some great topics, especially about relationships between men and women. I know that's an expertise of yours that I know, and I know you've got strong opinions. So I can't wait to have you back because there are a couple things I can think of in my head. So we'll talk about that off camera, and we'll have to run it back when you've got some time and we get you back on the show. So Trinace, a.k.a. Tracy Carter, her new book, Embrace Your Crown, a time management handbook for Black women. But this is a handbook that really will benefit anybody.
It will benefit anybody, and I'm working on a workbook. I've never done a workbook before, so be on the lookout for a workbook.
So what's the difference between a handbook and a workbook?
The workbook is where you're actually writing your thought process down to make sure you have a clear understanding of how I manage my time, how I practice saying no. And part of that is loving on you. There's even some journaling about that in there. So that's really serious to me because sometimes we say stuff and it doesn't come into fruition until sometimes you write it out.
Listen, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, my sister. I've watched you grow as an author. You're on fire. You're doing your thing, but I saw it way back 6 books ago. So you were, like you said, you were just embracing your crown and stepping into your greatness. Thanks for coming on. You are part of the Geno Jones Show family. So I can't wait. We're going to run it back and have some of these conversations about men and women. It's going to be that if y'all, this is hot, but that's going to be on fire. Trust me, y'all. We get it.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm just saying it is because I could talk forever, but we need to stand in our power. We need to stand in our power. We are very powerful. We are creators. And men, they have their own power, but our power is different. And when we could get together, we are both powerful. So don't dismiss the value of your man.
That part, that's why she's coming back, y'all. That part right there. All right, Tracy, Trinace, Tracy, you see our friend, we call her Tracy. See, that last part, that was the Tracy energy, right? Y'all got Trinace at the beginning of the show, but y'all got Tracy at the end. Y'all got T at the end of the show right there. Congratulations. Thank you. And we'll see you back on the show soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. All right. That's my people. I'm so happy for her and proud of her. Let me do something real quick, guys. Let me just do that. I'm really happy for her. When I finally published my audiobook, she was just starting off as an author, and I was on a book tour, and she came out and she purchased one of my books and talked about she's an aspiring author, and just watching her grow as an author. So really proud of her. So make sure you check out her book. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab, pull or rip a video clip of this show, this conversation with Tracy Carter. Subscribe, share, screen grab, and binge watch all my back episodes. The Geno Jones Show brought to you by CM Transportation. If your business either needs or you've got a transportation company, they're not dependable, not reliable, never on time. So if that's what your business needs in terms of a transportation company, contact CM, like Mary, CM Transportation, www.cmtransportationllc, all one word, .net. cmtransportationllc.net, or call 843 area code 606-2702, 843-606-2702. Ask for Carissa Carter. She's the CEO. Telling you we're watching the Geno Jones Show. And he was talking about a dependable, reliable, on-time transportation company, and that's what my business needs. Tell I told you to call. She got you covered, all right? Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist of the Geno Jones Show. Allie Jones, the drip director, as I like to refer to her, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Also, big shout out to my man, Mr. Bruce Gage, also a contributor, wardrobe contributor to the Geno Jones Show. Check him out. So check Allie out, fashion designer, future superstar. You can check Allie Jones and her collection out right now on Instagram, IG, LX.NCL_LX.NCL_. And Bruce Gage is on Instagram, Miglio Di Mario Uomo, MIGLIODIMARIO UOMO MIGLIODIMARIO UOMO. So the next live edition of the Geno Jones Show scheduled to be 6:30. Now we might have a start time 30 minutes later. I'll get the word out just in case. My guest is the official legal expert for the show, attorney Sean Mitchell. We're going to talk about DEI because there's been a whole lot of talk about it. And now diversity, equity, and inclusion, the MAGA cult and the racists are using it as a negative, as a pejorative, really as a synonym for saying the N-word. But the really tripped out part is some of us, black people, in our own culture, hating on DEI and talking about it's mostly garbage. Oh yeah, some famous black people saying that DEI is mostly garbage. So Sean's gonna come on, we're gonna talk about, he's gonna explain to you exactly what DEI is and why it was started in the first place and what it's really all about. Because basically when you hear people say CRT, oh, you're just a DEI hire or a CRT hire, that's basically, they're just calling you the N-word. But there's a reason, and in critical race theory, people they don't know that from, they just pull that out of their ass. But Sean Mitchell, and he's also a professor also. So attorney and professor Sean Mitchell is gonna come on. Trust me, it's gonna be a great show. So if you really wanna, and to all the races out there, y'all wanna really know what DEI is really all about, which some of you all know anyway, you know it, but you just, once again, use it as another racial dog whistle. It's not even a dog whistle, now it's like a bullhorn to animate people who are ignorant and don't know any better, to get them in. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you missed some of the episode, go back and binge watch this. And if you want to get your laugh on, check out last Friday's episode. That's April 5th. It'll say April 4-5, 2024. Me and my Friday guest co-host, Keela Carson. Great episode. Keep you laughing. Had a lot of fun. Actually, for my young brothers and sisters, putting you up on game when it comes to relationships, some relationship games. So make sure you go and check out last Friday's show too. We'll see you live tomorrow. Tentative start time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Might start 30 minutes later, but we'll let you know that. So just make sure you're hanging out. If you subscribe to the show, you get a notification when we go live anyway. So I'll see you then.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.